Man, yeah, unfortunately, you can't say that one on the podcast either. So, speaking of Alabama, Auburn, man, Alabama beat LSU. You say that?
I don't watch college basketball this year.
They played well, and they don't play again until what's today? 15th? It's your anniversary.
Yes.
Happy anniversary, bud.
You know.
26 years.
6.
Y'all putting in work, son. That's how you do it, buddy. Moving on. Anyway, they play again on the 17th, and they play A&M. But they do good. But did you hear that they're going to announce this pretty much 100 that they're going to build a new basketball field house?
I've heard talks for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Pearl's wanted it. It'll help with recruiting for sure.
Not Pearl. I'm talking about Alabama. I'm talking about
I mean Nate Oats.
Oats, yeah. But don't you?
Pearl just came across my screen.
Don't you think if they're going to keep Nate Oats, they've got to do this? I mean, I think is it Coleman Coliseum?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been there since like '68. I mean, it's an old building, right?
I don't think Nate stays around much longer.
You don't think so? Do you think this is a ploy that, hey, we've got to have you? And they build this field house?
I think they're doing it for the next guy.
Dude, Nate, best bad. I mean, besides, go back to Wimp Sanderson. I think Nate Oats is the best coach since Wimp Sanderson. Could be. I mean, I'm not saying the wins are there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying coach-wise, developing, building a program, and somebody I thought maybe would stay with it. Why do you think he would leave?
I don't think it's going to be by his choice.
What do you mean?
If you compare Alabama and Auburn, Alabama wants a better coach at everything, right?
Right.
Where are they lacking? No one thinks Nate Oats is a better coach than Bruce Pearl. No one.
I don't think he is, but I think it can be a great coach. I don't think he could be a Bruce Pearl coach.
I think Alabama wants to have everything above Auburn.
What would that hire be?
There's probably 100 coaches better than.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of NBA assistants right now.
Above Bruce Pearl, to say, hey, we've got this guy, and people like a novice fan like you and I look at college basketball and we look at it and go, he's a Bruce Pearl hire.
Yeah, I mean, it could be somebody that Charles Barkley gets behind. Somebody, I mean, I can't think of names right now, but I just think, and maybe I'm wrong.
You think Barkley would get behind an Alabama hire? He hates Alabama. So, I mean, you already had Avery. Avery was an NBA guy.
Avery's better than both those guys, I think.
But they let him go
to
bring in somebody else.
Successful at the NBA level is different than being successful at the college level. Being a college basketball coach is way more. It's way more difficult. In the NBA, you're not recruiting. In the NBA, grades don't matter. In the NBA, you have a true off season. In the NBA, you don't have to recruit your locker room.
Right.
That's done by the front office, right? You just coach who you get.
Right.
And in the NBA, they're professionals. They're making tons of money. They know they better come in shape. They know they better keep their nose clean. Right. It's an easier, different process. You play a different style of basketball, a different brand of basketball. College coaching, NFL and college, man, it's big difference. Big difference.
So they look for more of a developmental guy, kind of like Saban, that brings in talent, but then develops that talent to operate within the strengths that they have when they come in?
Yeah, well, depending on what kind of recruiting class, and I haven't looked at Auburn basketball or Alabama basketball recruiting. I'm obviously on football move, but Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Nate Oats is a great coach. I don't have a problem with him. But we'll see.
Well, I just remember back when they hired him, you said that's a good hire.
No question.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I hope that goes through. I hope that they do. I mean, they've got all the money in the world to build a state-of-the-art field house. I mean, Auburn, they're sleeping outside. Their students are to get in to watch a basketball game, right? To get the student tickets.
Cheskyville. We started that back in the day at Duke, Tent City.
I mean, that's what they're doing there at Auburn. They're building a culture where these students want to come watch basketball. I'm not a student section at Alabama's great. I'm not saying that, but
They're
it's
not for tickets.
yeah. I mean, it's different. So
I don't think culture, Auburn. I don't think Alabama wants. They don't want the perception to ever be that Auburn is better in this area, this area, and this area. And quite frankly, it hadn't been.
No, not basketball. I mean, it's again, I don't know who the hire would be. I don't know who you could bring in that is that aha, we got you in your face, suck it Auburn. Who
from Coosa.
Who?
Coach Norris from Coosa. I hear he may be available.
So, talk about Alabama football, and I know you got some things on Auburn there, but how about Alabama promoting? Was it Gillespie? Is that his name? He's the assistant head coach now, and now he's the running back coach. And a lot of people are shouting saying that this is a good promotion for Alabama. That DeBoer has said, okay, these guys have stayed with me. There's a couple. I'm gonna say another guy's name in a minute. They've stayed with me. They've proven who they are. They're good coaches, and now I'm going to reward them for staying. Right. So I think it was Gillespie that was one of them, and then the other one was Coach Roach, and he was promoted to. Now I don't know the difference because Gillespie is the assistant head coach, and then they've promoted Roach to associate head coach, and then he's coaching the defensive line. I think these are two good promotions. They're good coaches. They believe in Alabama and they're sticking with them. What does it say to you when a coach, through all of these hires, and you got somebody like Gillespie and Roach that are proven under Saban, right? And if you coach with Saban, you're proven. You know, you're not. If you suck, you're gonna be fired, right? If you're not doing your job. What do you think it says about these two guys that have stayed and DeBoer promoting them and giving them that probably the same jobs that they really had, but the title is different, and also with the structure of the pay scale, I'm sure that they're going to get paid a little more. But what do you say?
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's the title comes pay, right? End of the day, it's about pay. Well, the difference in an associate head coach and what was the other term?
Assistant head coach.
So if you're the associate head coach, is something being an associate pastor at church means you get to do the youth too?
Yeah. Yes. So yes, that's exactly right.
Sorry. There's something to be said about continuity, right? Keeping a staff together, keeping certain names together, keeping certain faces together. Some of these coaches recruited some of these kids, right? And I'm sure at the end of the day, they're very good recruiters.
See, that's the key, I think. I think it's that these guys have been in state. They know in-state dynamics. They know these in-state kids, how to recruit in-state. They know Mama and them and Ray and them, and they know just kind of the dynamics of Alabamians. I mean, that's who we are. We're all connected to, we're big family people. DeBoer, not saying DeBoer's not. He's from the north. He's coming down into the deep, deep south. And you've got to be able to have people that know the culture like Gillespie and Roach do, to be able to recruit people like, you know, mine and your kids that can sit down at our table and know how to talk to us about family and those types of things. So I think you're right. I think it's for recruiting and getting to know the atmosphere that he's coming into.
Well, Freddie Roach, man, was a dynamic player.
Yeah.
There's no question. I mean, he's coaching the SEC. Freddie Roach is dude's a dude. Let's be face it. Roach is a dude, man. So, and isn't he from North Alabama? Like
From Alabama.
Florence Shoals, something like that.
I know he's from Alabama. I don't know what part that he's from.
I think he went to school up that way. So that means you have an automatic in for recruiting because he's a legend. When Freddie Roach sits down at the dining room table with Mima on them, carry some weight.
You ain't talking about his weight.
Well, no, he's a big dude too. He's fat. EJ White fat.
No, that's a big guy, and don't even go there with you. That's a whole nother story.
And you talk about Robert Gillespie, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's running back coach. Excuse me. What about we lost Grubbs, right? He's going to the NFL.
That hurts.
That's a huge shot because last week we were under the impression dude's staying, right? But then when they come and they throw multiply millions and a multi-year deal, 3-year, whatever it is. I mean, that's a big deal because it's guaranteed money for him and his family. You can't fault the guy for leaving and going to NFL.
Well, just like we were talking about in the NFL, I would think that's the dream, right? You probably want to be an NFL head coach.
Sure.
That kind of guy. Dude is an incredible coach. He's a developer. I think he's one of the top 3 offensive minds in the country. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Denbrock is number 1. I think he was number 2. And I think their numbers indicate they're incredible. But we were talking about the difference. When you're in an NFL level, you truly have an off season. You don't have to worry about recruiting. Right now, I don't know how much input. He'll probably have some input in the draft because Seattle, a new head coach, so the staff is young and new, and I'm sure he's going to want a shiny new quarterback. Why not? Shiny new running back. It's a great wide receiver draft. All the connections he has to the Pacific Northwest, right? So he's from Seattle. That's where he coached in college.
He's home.
Oh, he's home. And recruiting and the NIL was here to stay.
Right.
I think I'm for it. It's from a media standpoint, we have a lot of fun with it, but the guy was an offensive genius.
Yeah. Well, so at that point, if you're Alabama, and I think we're looking for an announcement here today or tomorrow on a promotion, if it's going to happen, of 35-year-old Nick Sheridan.
Yeah, right? He's going to be the guy, right? He knows the offense. He's a tight ends coach. Right. So from a tight end perspective, you can coach tight ends. Freddie Kitchens, right? Great tight end coach. He's at South Carolina. No, he's at North Carolina, coaching with Mac Brown. If great quarterback, head coach, he understands the game. He's coached everything. But if you can understand how do you implement 12 and 13 package with your multiple tight ends, and that means you understand offensive lines. If coach tight ends, offensive line.
Right.
And around DeBoer, you understand the offense he wants to run.
Right.
And Grubb taught him. It was a high-level master's class.
Right.
So there's going to be a downgrade at all because I think Sheridan is a high-level coach. People down here don't know his name.
A quarterback. He was a backup, but he started several games at Michigan as a quarterback. Right.
Ooh, that's how I know him.
Then he coached at South Florida, Western Kentucky, Indiana. Then obviously he was a 3-year coach at Washington. So, you make him OC in charge of the quarterbacks or tight ends, whatever.
Well, here's the connection. What I thought was on this: how the guy can coach, right? So when he coached at Indiana, people forget about this. Michael Penix Jr. was at Indiana, right? So when he got the job at the University of Washington, UW, he's like, oh, hey, this kid wants to transfer. And Michael Penix Jr. was hurt at Indiana, didn't get a lot of reps, but this guy was with him. He knew the kind of player he was. He knew what he could be. So the guy brought Michael Penix Jr. to Seattle. He coached him up. I think he's going to be an incredible. I know you're hoping for him, pick number 8 for the Falcons in the draft coming up in April. The guy can coach, and if Alabama fans can give him an opportunity to let's see what he can do, and I think here's where the calmness comes in for Bama fans. Hearing DeBoer, how passionate he was, that how he respects Coach Saban, and saying, "Hey, I'm going to listen to Coach Saban. I'm going to pick his ear. I'd be an idiot not to."
Right.
But it's my program. It's not Saban's program.
That's
it's
right.
now my program. You got to have a certain set of balls on you to be able to even say that for University of Alabama fans, right? You got to have some wherewithal to, this is my program. The fact that Coach Saban is happy with it, and he's like, because he ain't going to, all that work, he's not going to just throw it in the dumpster, regardless if he's retiring or not. That's not who he is. And I think Alabama has assembled a tremendous staff. I do.
Yeah.
I think Auburn has an elite staff.
Sure. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. So you think you think without question that it's going to be Coach Sheridan that's promoted to the OC.
Makes sense to me, but what do I know? I went to Etowah. I don't know.
Like everybody else is going there as well. I mean, that's kind of where they're at. So, I mean, that's huge news right now. We're waiting for that to drop. I mean, obviously, hasn't been named yet.
What are you hearing about the offensive line? Because I think that's the bigger loss to me.
Right.
Because in that scheme.
Right.
Did, yeah. Huff, right? Scott Huff, I think. That could be wrong. He understands the offense from the offensive line standpoint, right? He understands it. He gets it. He coaches it. He teaches it. He knows the kind of kids to recruit that works in his system, right? Just because you're a big 6'7" or 6'8" left tackle doesn't mean the big 6'7" left tackle works in his offense. Maybe he needs a 6'5" tackle with better feet. I don't know. I haven't studied the ins and outs of that offense. I know it's more of a pro offense, and Michael Penix doesn't run very much. Very fast, can run. He moved in the pocket to be able to throw, very accurate. I think the perfect landing spot is my ADHD, my Jeff Underwood's kicking in. If you, the perfect landing spot for Michael Penix Jr., I think, is with Sean Payton in Denver.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because I think the way Drew Brees ran the offense for Coach Payton is, okay, Payton's offense is, okay, I'm only going to have 5 blocking. I mean, somebody's getting a free release. That means you've got to be able to read the hot read, know where it's coming from, get the ball out quick. What Russell Wilson does is he likes to scramble. He likes to keep plays alive. He doesn't throw the ball very quickly. And Denver has a good team. They almost came back and made the playoffs. They had a nice 5-6 game winning streak, came back at the end. But it's never going to work with Russell Wilson there. But Penix there could be different. I digress. So back to Scott, the offensive line. Sorry.
But I think you're right with Sean Payton and his style. I think Russell Wilson, I mean, he is on the back end of his career. He's had a great career, right, with Seattle and did really well. But I think you're right. In order for Denver to be something, you're going to have to fit around the style of the coach that you brought into.
We're talking Alabama offensive line, and when we go to NFL, I'm not sure what that's on me.
Again, to answer that question, I don't know. I think they're going with outside.
Pat Perez. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm owning it. It's me.
It's my bad. That's
on me.
I'll go with outside. I think they're right.
Who's replacing him? Have you heard any names about who's replacing him? I have not.
No, I have not either. And that's the same thing with the OC and the man. I don't know. I have no idea. And I looked this morning just briefly to see if anybody was named or even in the hunt, and they're keeping that close to the chest. I don't know what they're doing.
It will be soon. When's your spring game?
It's got to be within the next week and a half or two, right? And because the spring game's at the beginning of March, is that right? Not March.
Well, no, it's April.
April, the end of March, early April. It's after. I don't have my phone. I'm on my phone talking to you. So,
Notre Dame's blue gold game is April the 20th. Auburn, them Tigers, April the 8th, I think, for them.
And it's always within a week or so of Auburn.
So you need to make a hire pretty quickly, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, tell DeBoer. So what's going on with your boy, your Ole Miss, your Liberty University, your LU, your AU coach now? What's going on with him? What's the news?
That man that was saved by grace, and he's telling everybody that'll listen.
He don't even care.
Coach Freeze, that's him.
If I didn't love the Tide so much, ain't nothing but the Tide. I could be a Hugh Freeze fan, and it could pull me to the dark side.
Well, you can still be a fan of Hugh Freeze because he's a fellow Christian. He's someone that's been to take a Jeff Underwoodism in the muck and the mire.
I like it. Yeah.
That brother's been in the valley.
Yeah.
And he's made his way back through God.
Yeah.
The only way I know to do it.
A lot of help. A lot of people have helped. But obviously, it's the end. It's the Lord that has brought him back. But we know it's God that's given him the ability to coach. I mean, this guy can coach. So, what is the news coming out of the plains down there?
I don't know if it's a lot of news, right? I know their staff is fully assembled at this point, which is just so happens I have it pulled up right here, Jeff.
Ooh, you got the staff already?
Staff. I was looking at when you call. I wasn't prepared for the show.
You
Sorry.
weren't.
So premature show today. So when you look at the running back coach, offensive coordinator is Derek Nix, yes. And obviously we're fond of him being an Italic kid, playing ball with his brother Tyrone, and knowing his whole family forever. That's a great hire. Yeah. That dude will work. He clocks in like he's going to the old school steel plant. That brother works. You know what I'm saying?
Where's Daddy working steel plant?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Reverend Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He's been pastoring church for 116 years.
And it's in Blount County, too. That brother's been from Ocala to Blount County for 40-something years to pastor this church. So,
man, love this. So then you look at your defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin is incredible, right? He has head coaching experience. We won't get into that. Had some drama at Maryland. I don't even know if you remember that. Do you remember he had a kid die participating in practice back in the day? Nothing that he did. Obviously, this guy's been vetted by everybody.
Right.
And I hope the Alabama fans don't, sometimes they can be ruthless. Let's hope they let this guy get past that, right?
Let's call them Alabama afflicted folks. That they're not even real fans. They're just idiots, those people.
Yeah. So Durkin is incredible. Co-defensive coordinator Charles Kelly. Durkin's going to be the guy, but Charles Kelly is incredible as well. And even though Derek Nix is the OC, this year Hugh Freeze is running the show.
Right.
He's in his offense. The buck stops with him. So right. That's fantastic.
So Hugh's calling plays?
Oh, Freeze.
Hugh's calling the plays from the sideline, and Derek's his eyes up top that says, "Coach, this is."
I'm not sure the dynamic of that, quite frankly, and I'm sure Derek will have some influence. But he was at Ole Miss for 16 years. Oh. There's not much that Derek Nix hadn't seen.
That's right.
The SEC, so I'm sure he's going to have a big say in personnel, a big say in game planning. But if we look back to what Coach Freeze loves to do, it is the true RPO.
Okay.
True RPO.
And your quarterback fit that you have into the RPO?
I think quarterbacks where they're lacking, right? I think, man, I don't have the kids' roster pulled up. I'd love to see who their the Auburn's roster. I think they're going to have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. See if I can pull it up. We all know Peyton Thorne's going to get the opportunity to be the guy, right? I just don't think he is the guy. I'm not a Thorne fan. I know maybe we'll get Bill on the show, right? He loves this stuff, and it depends on what medication day it is for Bill.
Or what route he's driving, maybe.
If he's had a good day, we'll get him on. If he's had a bad day, we'll wait. But Peyton Thorne will get the opportunity. May know that's the transfer from Michigan State. But when you look at, there's one kid I can't believe still on the roster. Quite frankly, was it Gerben? Geriner. Yeah, Holden. He's from Savannah, 6'3", 210. He's a sophomore. I don't think he doesn't fit the offense. I don't think he's going to be there. I think after the spring he leaves personally. And Walker White, I think that's the heir apparent. A true freshman running this Auburn offense under Freeze, I don't know. At some point in the season, I think he's going to be the guy. His NLI value is like $450,000.
Yeah.
Is for White.
What would cause Hugh Freeze to say, "Okay, Walker, you're the guy"? What would he have to see in this true freshman for him to make that decision to say, "Okay, you're on the bench, Walker, you're coming up"?
Well, I think it's gonna take a lot, because I think one thing they know about Peyton Thorne is, you know what you get with him. Yeah, he's proven to be effective in this scenario. He understands the learning curve at a quarterback at a SEC from high school. SEC is huge, right? So Walker is way behind. He's enrolled, and he's going to get some. So now I guess it comes down to how many snaps you're going to get, right? In this practice, Thorne going to get 50% of the snaps, and the other 3 get the other 50%. Will Walker White automatically get the number 2 spot and say he gets 20% of the snaps, and the other kids, get the other snap? I don't know. I just don't think, and I could be wrong. You guys comment down below what you think, who you want to see running the Auburn offense. I just don't think it's Thorne. I think Bill loves him. I think Blake loves him. And Blake's the kind of fan, no matter who's back there, that's his favorite, right? He loves Auburn. So he don't care. Whoever's back there, that's who he wants. But when you look at the elite wide receivers that Auburn has now, and they are elite.
Yep.
Cam Coleman is incredible, man. He's almost 6'4". And we'll talk about Perry Thompson as well. Those 2 are getting the big names, but there's some other kids, man, let's see, that it's coming together, man. The offensive line is coming together. What will their running game be? That's yet to be seen. I do like the big tackle they got, big 6'8" tackles, which I think is pretty fantastic. But there's a kid that enrolled early, a wide receiver, that I was hearing really good things about. And you got Sam Jackson coming up. Sam Jackson could play quarterback. He's a quarterback. He was the transfer from Cal.
Right. He just needs to put an L in his name, and if he does that, I think he's good to go. Right.
I think if it's Samuel L. Jackson, yes, he's starting at quarterback. Regard. I think he's a quick kid. 5'11", 170. He's been in big games. He's played out west against USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. He's been in those big games. I think he's going to be you may put a goal line package in with him, so to a pure running game, but you may see something of him. I think he's going to be a wide receiver. But where is the kid? Man, I can't find the kid. Again, I'm not prepared. I apologize.
apologies. Do you think that Auburn is a at this point before you see them, right? If you look at the names, you look at the people they brought in, the people that have gone, the people that have the coaching staff that Hugh Freeze has brought in. What do you say they are? What type of team do you? How many wins? How many losses? Just Jerry White projecting.
Again, I'm not broken down the film, and I haven't really, with a fine tooth comb, went over the schedule. I think Auburn better be 5-0. Okay. And that's saying something, because so to be 5-0, that means that fifth game they have to beat Oklahoma.
Right.
That's a big game. That's huge. So I 9-10 games, I think Auburn can win. I think they can win. If I'm wagering money, I think this is a 9-win ball team.
Wow.
Would it surprise me to see them win 10? No. I think they certainly can. So I put the over and under at 9.5, and 95% of the country would bet the under, I'm sure. I think there's talent there. I got a lot of belief in that coaching staff.
Yeah.
They are simply elite.
Yeah.
Hey, please put your comments down there. I want to go back and read them and get you people's thoughts. That's no disrespect for Alabama. Alabama's Alabama, right? Different level. They're like a NFL team of sorts, right?
I'm struggling to kind of figure out what I think Alabama finishes as, and more. Yeah. I'm worried that Alabama's going to be a 4-loss team, and let me tell you why. And I don't know if they will be, but 3 is not going to be good, right? If they're a 3-loss team, you can go first year. These crazy Alabama fans, and I am an Alabama fan, but I'm not one of these crazies, right? I'm a diehard Alabama. But if Alabama loses 3 games, they're going to say, okay, it's his first year. We're trying to do. But if they lose 4 games, and I know some of these people right now are screaming at me, going, "There's no way Alabama's going to lose 4 games." I'm not saying they are. I'm saying if they do, and you look at the schedule that Alabama plays, right? You got an Auburn team coming in. That is a possibility, right? That Auburn team with that coaching staff, that is a possibility of a loss, right?
It is, but luckily Alabama has them at Bryant-Denny.
I know that.
Alabama is completely different against Auburn at Bryant-Denny. Had this game this year been at Auburn, I could easily see Auburn win that game.
Yeah. Well, I think with you, the dynamics you have now, all the coaching staff, the people they're bringing in, the people off the transfer portal, the recruits that he's bringing in, I think you're going to see a totally different team. And you're not just going to see a team with great athletes. You've had that at Auburn. You're going to see a team with great athletes plus enthusiasm that they haven't had in a long time. And then you're going to see a coaching staff that takes that enthusiasm and channels it into something pretty special. And I think DeBoer can do that. I just think
schedule.
Yeah.
I'll name it. You tell me what it lost. All right. Western Kentucky.
Obviously a win.
South Florida.
Win.
At Wisconsin.
It's going to be tough. That's a win, though.
Bye week.
They lose that week.
Home against Georgia.
That's going to be tough. I say, and I want them to win, but I'm going to tell you Alabama loses that game.
Vanderbilt.
Win.
South Carolina.
Win.
At Tennessee.
That's going to be the telltale, I think, when you go into a place that is hostile, it's not fun. They've got something to prove. It is. Everybody's against them. Everybody in NCAA, all the haters against Tennessee. You guys suck. You should get the death penalty. All of this crap's going to come up. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. It's dangerous.
They did nothing compared to Michigan, and they won a national championship. So
yeah.
Win or loss in that Tennessee game?
I'm going to say Alabama wins, but it's close. Alabama could lose, but I say they win.
Missouri?
Win.
Bye week. You get a bye week before Georgia.
Lose.
You get a bye before LSU.
They're going to lose against LSU.
Really?
Yeah, I do think so because you come off the week from Tennessee, right? And then and then we go into, who was it we play after Tennessee? It's a bye week.
You're home against Missouri, then a bye week, then at LSU.
That's the problem. All right, who's after LSU?
Mercer.
Got your little fluff game after that. I don't know. I think that Alabama always, for whatever reason, and it's at LSU, right? That's the problem going into Death Valley. And if it depends on how you've played all year long until that point. If you go into Tennessee and it's very close, you come out with a victory, or you lose at Tennessee, you lose to Georgia. Obviously, if you lose to Georgia, close to Tennessee, you're going into LSU. These kids, it's going to be chaos. You're going to have your fans, all the talk shows. Everybody's going to be talking about how terrible you are. You're not going to win and all those kinds of things. And I think that gets in their head going into a place that every person that's ever played at Alabama says is the toughest place to play in college football, is Death Valley. So
it's a day or night game. Big difference.
It is a big difference. So and obviously that's going to be rated off the first 4 weeks, right?
It's going to be a night game, or it's going to be game day.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'll tell you this: it depends if Alabama loses against Georgia. If they lose,
Georgia, give me an answer, bro. Nazarene right now.
They lose it. I think Alabama's a 3-loss team.
All right, so you got them losing to Georgia, losing to LSU, Mercer. Then you go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think they beat Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's they've got a lot to prove. They got a lot of work to do. So I just don't think Oklahoma's there yet.
All right, so then you've got Auburn in Tuscaloosa.
That's the problem. Again, I know I'm going to say Alabama wins it because it's in Tuscaloosa, but I'm going to tell you that's going to be probably the toughest game that we play all year because of the dynamics. Auburn rebuilding, Alabama not rebuilding, Auburn building off of something special, bringing in this coach that's really good, and Alabama people losing Coach Saban and going with Coach DeBoer, great coach, proven coach, winning coach. But I say Alabama wins, but I think Alabama is a 3-loss team this coming year. And I hate to say it kills me, but I think they are.
Who's the third loss? That's 2.
Oh, it is 2. So, okay, let me tell you this. I think Alabama, it could very well could be Tennessee or Auburn, one of the 2 that could beat them.
If they make the championship game, you saying they lose that and that's their 3rd loss?
That would be the 3rd loss. But Tennessee and Auburn, man, I don't know. I don't know if it goes back to, what was it, 17 or 16 with the kick 6? 16, 16, something like that. I mean, it's going to go down to the wire with Auburn. I mean, it is. But I think if they go to SEC championship.
4th and 31 last year. Here's my take on Bama this year. Not that you asked, but thanks for asking.
I need it.
I think Wisconsin's a tough early game, but I think they're not there yet. Coach Fickle is going to get them back to being a force again, but not yet. Georgia, you're going to be tough to beat Georgia. That rivalry at Tennessee is tough, but I think you get them. I think you dominate LSU. I think you dominate. I don't think they're even close to the same team. You lose the Heisman Trophy quarterback.
Wow.
You lose the best offensive coordinator in the country in Mike Denbrock. I don't think LSU, and that has nothing to do with my dislike for Coach Kelly, because I respect Coach Kelly for what he did at Notre Dame. He come in, he left it way better than he found it. Sure. I got right over there, I got a nice autograph on my wall from Coach Kelly. I just don't think LSU is.
They don't have the juice this year. You don't think?
They're going to have at least two wide receivers go in the first round of the NFL draft in April.
Mm.
And you lose that. They're going to have at least 3 kids drafted in the first round, probably in the first 15 picks. You lose a lot. And they got some uncertainty for his promotions, who you're bringing in. So I don't think LSU is going to be an issue this year for Alabama.
Good.
At Oklahoma is different.
You think that's the game?
I think that's the game that. Welcome to the SEC. Right? Welcome to the SEC. I think Oklahoma is not used to playing the daily. I haven't looked at Oklahoma's schedule.
Would it base off who they play before they get to Alabama?
No, not really, because I think that they're not used to playing the tough games like that week in, week out. So I think because you guys are playing them that late in the season, and you pretty much get them after. I mean, you got LSU, then you got Mercer. It's pretty much a bye week, so you're gonna be rested. You're gonna be healthy. You're used to those kind of games and late season heroics. You guys get better. In the past, you've always gotten better as the season went on. You're going to get Alabama, get them early. Ask Texas, right? So I think, but I still think you get that game. I think the two games I would circle is Georgia at home, Alabama at home.
Does Georgia win that game?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the other game?
Auburn.
And do you think Auburn wins that game?
I think, if I'm calling it right now, I think Auburn will beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa on November the 30th.
Okay, so going to the SEC championship, does Alabama defending? Do they win that game? If they win it, so you think Alabama's a 2-loss team wins the SEC?
Well, here I say I don't know if they win that game or not. We could see a rematch with Auburn. There's no divisions this year, right? So you could see a back-to-back November 30th, December 7th. It could be back-to-back Auburn, Alabama. That would be, my gosh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Even though I'm scared of that, I would love to see that because it usually always ends up being an Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, LSU bull crap. I mean that. But how awesome would it be to see an Alabama Auburn rematch?
For us, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Now you got me to want to go over Auburn's schedule.
Andrew, I know we're a long time in the show, but you told me what is Auburn's record, you said?
I'm looking now. I'm really not sure. Let's see. They open with Alabama A&M. Then they have Cal. Then they have New Mexico. Arkansas will be a tough game for them.
So those are 4 wins right there to Arkansas?
4 wins. Then they get Auburn. Oklahoma comes to Jordan-Hare late September. Here's the problem with Auburn in this little run is they got Oklahoma at Georgia, a bye week, then Missouri, Kentucky, Vandy, Texas A&M, Alabama. I think Auburn wins 10, man. I think they're 10-2.
Wow. That's huge. If they're a 10-2 team, Hugh Freeze is the savior of Auburn football, and they're going to have a statue by Suge Jordan.
They may. I want to see a side-by-side statue between. I'm just kidding. Nobody.
No, that's awesome, man. What a good time. I love just sitting and talking to you about this stuff, man. Just kind of spitballing and bull crapping, but also just kind of giving a heart. We're going to get hammered. I'm going to get hammered for Alabama being a 3-loss team. You're going to get smacked. Auburn's going to win everything, that kind of crap. Or you're going to have the Rick Neal fan that says, "Oh, you're crazy, Jerry. Auburn's losing 5." That kind of stuff. But it's.
I think it's a good time for Alabama and Auburn, and I think I would love to see an SEC championship game between Alabama and Auburn.
Me too.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, right?
Yeah.
I would. Yes.
What would be your what percentage do you throw out there that it is an Alabama-Auburn SEC championship?
That's so tough because so much has to go well.
Dynamics are crazy right now, right? It's all new.
25%.
I mean, that's high.
Mm-hmm.
That's high. But if you said, okay, this is really what it's going to be. Well, who would you say? Alabama, Georgia again?
Georgia is the factor, right? Let's look at Georgia's schedule. Because I have not looked at Georgia's schedule. Should be interesting. Bum, bum, bum.
Your screen is enormous. What do you got? Like a 42-inch computer screen?
This one's a 32. That's a 25 in my laptop. I got 3 screens.
Oh my gosh. I should be at the office.
I got to, man. I got we'll be working on some of my own personal let's call it northern shows.
Northern.
Nobody down here cares what I think about Notre Dame or
Gotcha.
Okay. Here is that can't be right. All right, here is Georgia's schedule. They open up with Clemson, then Tennessee Tech, at Kentucky, at Alabama, then Auburn at home. They got Alabama, Auburn back-to-back weeks.
Tough.
Mississippi State, at Texas, Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, Georgia Tech. UMass.
They threw that in there. Georgia's got a tough little schedule there at the first part of the season.
Game is going to be. I'm not sure about Clemson yet. I really haven't gave them a deep dive. They lose some people, but at the end they came on a little bit. Kentucky's an up and coming team. They can run the football for sure. At Alabama, that's going to be a great game. And Auburn back-to-back weeks benefits Auburn because they play Georgia second.
Right.
Very tough physical game. And that's between the hedges. At Alabama goes, no, I'm sorry. It's at Alabama. Benefit for you guys. Then Auburn goes between the hedges. Mississippi State, who knows how the 2 Mississippi teams are going to be. I think Ole Miss is going to be good.
Yeah, me too.
Miss could beat them. I think we're going to see, we may see 3 or 4 2-loss teams.
A lot of people screaming Alabama, Ole Miss.
Could be.
Yeah, that very well could be. Very well could be. I mean,
it's Alabama.
Prove he's saying I'm staying at home, right? I mean, Kiffin is like, I'm not going anywhere. This is my spot. This is where I'm meant to be. And these kids are buying in, man. That community's buying in.
The Alabama job more than he wanted air.
No doubt. It just wasn't offered to him, right?
Exactly right. So in his take was, I wasn't going to take it. They knew not to offer it. I wasn't going anywhere.
Would you say anything different?
No.
No. Heck no. No. You're going to say, man, it was all me all day, but I'm staying at Ole Miss. I mean, obviously, but he's going to have something to prove. He's going to have a major chip on his shoulder, even though he doesn't play Alabama at that point or through the regular season.
He's a great coach.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, my man. Alabama Auburn Show, episode, what number is this?
4?
3 or 4?
4.
The 4?
Count Saban, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Put that 4 on that thing, son. What a great time. Now, I'm going to go back and watch this Barstool Sports. I see your Carnell Williams autograph jersey over there over your left shoulder.
Represent.
Looking all smooth. Kelly did a good job framing that thing for you, man.
You did. I can't do it.
Happy anniversary, buddy. Love you guys.
Love you, man.
Talk to you later.